I did not predict half of the things that happened to the EFF in 2024. I think many people didn't predict. The election results themselves. I think there were conversations, there was research suggesting a plateauing of the party,
Yeah.
but I didn't see KZN, for instance. What happened with Floyd Shivambu and Dalimpofu, I didn't see those things happening. What happened to Mwiseni Ndlozi, I didn't see happening. Let's speak about an EFF that moves from that massive showing at FNB Stadium. I mean, Vusi Khoza, who was a regional chain KZN, remains to date aggrieved about being fired from the party on the back of buses during that particular event.
Look, I think the 10th anniversary was a shocking moment, not only for South Africa, but a lot of the enemies of the EFF in terms of capital domestically. And just the white capitalist establishment. I mean, there was not an expectation that it would have that type of resounding success. And a lot of things changed from then. I mean, a lot of political parties were established before the elections. Some of them didn't end up contesting. Your Change starts now. There was your Bosas, which was not supposed to be a political party initially. He said he was going to do something independent, wanted to bring something different, ended up forming a political party. And there was a sort of coalescing, and especially by the Democratic Alliance, because before the MK party came in, if you remember, the Ipsos poll placed EFF at about 19% in terms of its projection. So the disruptive factor of MK also played a role, of course, post that 10th anniversary. So we think that the coalescing around the narrative that the EFF being in government represented doomsday, which was pioneered by the Democratic Alliance, it came after that 10th anniversary. There was attempts to shift the narrative around the success of the anniversary and minimize it to the kill the Boer, kill the farmer. And you could see the building up of the EFF is firstly promoting white genocide. If the EFF is included in a government coalition, then South Africa's economy will collapse. The DA then began running with that narrative, establishing the Moonshot Pact on the basis that the EFF must be kept out of government and the ANC must be dropped out of power. And then ultimately the election results came with MK being the major disruptive factor, which I think disrupted all of us. And it led to where we were initially. And I think that was the most disruptive factor. But from that 10th anniversary, a lot of things happened that showed that there was a concerted effort, in our view, to ensure the EFF doesn't get into power. And I think that 10th anniversary was a shocking moment for all of those who had those intentions. Of course, then, the emergence of MK led to those defections of people like Dali and Floyd, which we have characterized as an electoral opportunism, because they come to a realization that the MK party is an effective alternative vehicle for radical economic change in South Africa post-election results. So they operated like sleeper agents in the EFF until the election results confirmed the fact that the MK party did better than the EFF. And then they started making these phased out exits in the EFF for shock value, I think. So after the election results, and I think there was a video of MK having a rally in Moses Mapita where one, I think they call themselves commanders or something, sort of lashes at Dali because they were supposed to leave. I think on election day, that's the rumor that we've been hearing, that on election day was actually the day where they were supposed to leave the EFF and announce their departure and join the MK party, which I think would have been much more harmful to the EFF because it was going to distract our entire election day and our entire election strategy. So they delayed it, phased out their departures, and it had the impact that it had. But I think the EFF has recovered well from those exits. I would say, I'm not objective, I think.
No, you're not objective. That's a fair point. We're
I
not
would say
objective.
we've
I
recovered
don't know
well.
if I agree with that, but
Yeah.
I take that you're not objective on that point. So I
Yeah.
agree with you. I want to unpack a little bit of that. They've kind of maintained that the talks of the MK have long been there before the elections. So when you describe them as sleeper agents, that feels like a dishonest view, considering that the pair, Dalimpofu says, we were in meetings with Julius Malema. I posted a picture of one of those meetings that had McDonald and Teki in them, so that the conversation was there all along. So the idea that the EFF was caught off guard, that you're betrayed almost, because that's what it was fashioned as, I think is dishonest, isn't it?
I don't think so. So those meetings, when they occurred, the idea was that we must all coalesce into one political party that will lead this progressive front. And the EFF rejected that. And one of the people who were at the forefront of rejecting that notion was Floyd Shivambu. So that's what makes it feel like a
That's a
sense of
betrayal, yeah.
betrayal, because he was at the forefront of saying, no, we can't collapse the economic freedom fighters to coalesce around one political party led by Jacob Zuma. So to shift from that immediately after elections, when you are the one who was lobbying against doing something of that nature, feels like a betrayal to us. And the meetings were around, let's talk after elections as to how we're going to structure a progressive sort of caucus or progressive movement or work together. But the EFF outrightly rejected collapsing itself to form part of the MK party.